From the News Channel 8 studios, let's talk live with your hosts, Natasha Barrett and Melanie Hastings.
But first, let's get to this. Being a good listener is a skill that, you know, everyone should have, but not everyone does.
And whether you are maybe at an interview or just talking to a friend, talking to somebody you know, being heard and hearing others is the key to communicating. A lot of people, though, just don't seem to have this skill, do they? Life coach Michele Woodward is here. Today, she's going to talk about some of the tips to being a better listener, something we all can use. Michele, good to see you.
Nice to see you.
And welcome to Let's Talk Live.
Thank you.
First step is turn off our phone.
You know, when you're doing this, it's really hard to make eye contact, and eye contact is the key thing in listening. Listening is really about showing the other person respect. So if I'm doing this, or I'm checking my email, or I'm watching the football game on television, I'm really not present. I'm somewhere else than where I should be, which is right with the person I'm talking to.
But, you know, these days we're all told we should multitask, and our kids are the best at it, right?
Right.
So, I mean, it's hard to get your kids' attention when their head's always down.
That's right. I have 2 teenagers, and so I know what that's like. So we have rules. For instance, no texting at the table.
Oh, that's a good one.
It makes for better conversation. So we talked about Romney and Perry and Paul and all that sort of thing.
Are you able to enforce that? That's
yeah,
what I want to know.
Absolutely.
You said teenagers, right?
Teenagers,
How old are they?
19 and 15.
That's a tough one because most of them live on their phone by texting.
Absolutely. Yeah. But we just make that rule and we really stick to it, and it creates a kind of relationship with them that I really want to have as a parent. They talk because they feel respected, and because they talk, I know what's going on in their lives. Same thing happens in the workplace. You know, if you think you're going to lead by just telling somebody what to do, it's so much better to listen to what's going on with them and then be able to give them the direction they need.
That face-to-face contact, which we don't have a lot anymore.
And it's what my clients say they really want. They want connection, they want intimacy, they want to be known. And so you get that by that really meaningful listening.
All right, so how do we find the time in our lives to put everything down and just focus on this one person in the room?
Right, deep breaths.
I mean, it almost seems a little artificial in a way.
Right,
you know?
but to also say, hey, I'm making this time for you because I really respect you, and I respect what it is that you're going to say. So I'm not going to multitask, I'm going to monotask, and I'm going to monotask on you. Is a great way to create that kind of relationship and that kind of dynamic.
Because no matter how much you try to fake it, people can tell.
Absolutely.
You know, if you're looking another way, doing something. Right. I don't know if anybody's seen the commercial that's out now. It runs a lot during, you know, sports and stuff like that. The couple that's at dinner together.
Right.
Have you seen it? It's a couple at dinner together.
Like this.
He's watching the play-by-play scores. She's like, what's going on? He's like, oh. I mean, it's a great commercial, but it probably sums up a lot of us.
Right. But when you're doing that, he's there at the football game rather than at dinner with his wife. And so what message is he really sending? So back to your question, it's about serving my priority, and my priority is to have a good relationship with these people. So if I'm a leader in an office, it's with the people who work with me. If I'm at home, it's my wife, my kids, my family, my husband. If you're dating, and I know you're going to have a dating expert up sooner, it's listening to the person you're dating. It's vitally important.
Do you think we all have a little too much noise in our lives in a way? You know,
yeah, I think you have to dial it down.
Distract.
Because, like, you want that connection, you want to be known, you want that intimacy, you want to be heard. And so the best way to be heard is what Stephen Covey says: seek first to understand and then be understood. So if I understand where you're coming from, then it's easier for me to be able to be understood when I express myself.
Beyond all the gadgets, the phones, you know, the emails, everything that could get our attention, the TV, do you find people know how to really listen when they don't have those distractions? Because that's another thing.
I think we've forgotten. And I think that what I'm trying to do, talking about listening, is trying to bring people back to what we used to do, is really sit and listen to somebody. And so practice makes perfect, and so you can start today just practicing a little bit, listening to one person.
All right,
and that makes a difference.
So I'm listening to you right now. So is it good to, like, ask a question about what you're saying? I mean, does that show that I'm listening?
There's a practice called active listening, and active listening is where you rephrase what somebody's just said and then you seek clarification. So you might say, so I hear you saying that you'd really like to watch the football game. Am I right about that? And the person at that point can say, no, I don't want to watch this football game that's on now. I want to watch the game that's later tonight.
What I'm saying essentially is this, not that.
Right. And because we get a lot of miscommunication, a lot of misunderstanding when I think I know what you're saying, but I don't quite know what you're saying. I see this in people who take jobs often, and they think the job's going to be one way and it turns out a completely different way, but it's because they weren't such a great listener when they were offered the job.
And maybe they did listen, but just didn't get it.
They didn't want to hear it.
Is there this? There's that too. But is there the fear that you brought up, like, hey, you're going in there for the job interview, and you don't want to ask too many questions, that you don't want to seem, stupid,
right?
By saying, well, so once again, this is what I see, what you're saying,
right?
But that's essentially important.
But when you do the active listening, it's actually an expression of deep respect, right? Because people feel validated when you understand what they're saying. So by saying, I'm understanding it this way, it's actually a feeling of deep respect that it engenders. So it's a great tactic in a job interview.
So I'm hearing you say, repeating what the person just said in your own words. So that's a tip too. That's
paraphrasing and clarifying, right? In case you could be wrong.
A lot of times you hear with couples, she just wants to hear herself talk. He just wants to, that kind of thing, so no one's listening. Is that a problem that you see, that people just want to talk, maybe not listen to each other?
Right, and then there are some personality types that are very, they talk to think. And I think in a couple, especially, if you know that that's the way a person is, you can kind of create some ground rules where a person might say, I just need to talk this out. And then you just
be my sounding board.
Right, exactly. But set those ground rules at the beginning.
And as a listener, sometimes you don't have to do a thing. You don't have to judge. You don't have to give feedback. You just have to listen. And then they feel better.
That's right. And you've created this really great relationship.
Yeah, that's a trick. Easier said than done in some relationships, right?
Absolutely.
You wouldn't be in the business you were
That's right.
if it was that easy.
That's right.
I heard, Michele, there's something like a rule of how much talking to listening you should be doing. It's like 80-20. You should be listening 80.
I think the 80-20 rule is really good.
Is that such a thing?
There is such a thing. And in a job interview, it really should be somewhere in that 70 or 80% where the interviewer is doing, you get the interviewer to do a lot more talking than you do.
Takes the heat off you anyway.
Absolutely. Ask really good questions, but really be a good listener.
Take the time. Turn the phone off.
Right. Stop texting. Stop checking email. Stop watching the football game, and just really pay attention.
We're all going to go through some withdrawals, but it might be worth it. Michele, good to have you on today.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Nice to see
you. Up
you.
next on the show, why you won't be seeing Kim Kardashian in this year's Super Bowl. We're going to tell you who has replaced her in the Skechers Super Bowl ad.
Here. Also, we live in a romantic city, but how can you and your honey enjoy it when the temperature dips? We're going to take a look at some popular cold weather dates.
And getting over a holiday money hangover, how you can get your finances in order after too much spending.
And Amanda McClements is back. She's got some secrets for your kitchen. You definitely want to listen up.
And check us out. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and we have a blog on TBD.com. We'll be right back.